Goosebumps Horrorland Heads You Loose by R.L. Stein. Meet Jonathan Chiller. He owns Chiller House, the Horrorland gift shop. Sometimes he doesn't let kids pay for their souvenirs. Chiller tells them, "You can pay me next time." What does he mean by next time? What is Chiller's big plans? Go ahead, the gates are opening. Enter Holland. This time you might be permitted to leave, but for how long? Jonathan Chiller is waiting to make sure you take a little horror home with you. Part 1. I pulled my floppy blue cap down low on my forehead and gazed around Zombie Plaza. It was a hot sunny day and Horrorland theme park was jammed with kids and families. "This is so awesome," I said to my friend Ryan Cheng. "Can you believe we finally made it here?" Ryan just nodded. He's the quiet type. I could see my reflection in his round silvery sunglasses. He never takes the sunglasses off. Ryan wore a black t-shirt and black cargo shorts. He always wears black. Ryan is the shortest, shrimpiest kid in our class, but he's totally cool. "I think that's the magic store over there," I said, pointing across the plaza. And a harsh, croaky voice rasped in my ears. "Don't point, Jessica. It's not polite to point." "Huh?" I spun around. No one there. I blinked, and then I figured it out. Ryan laughed. "I got you." "No way," I said. I gave his shoulder a hard shove. "I knew it was you." Ryan can throw his voice, so can I. We are both really excellent ventriloquists. We are into magic tricks too. Ryan rubbed his shoulders. He straightened the shades over his eyes. "Pick on someone your own size, Jessica," he muttered. "That's one of our little jokes, since I am nearly a foot taller than him. Ryan and I have a lot of little jokes. I guess it's because we've lived next door to each other since we were 3. We are 12 now, and it's like we are brother and sisters. Sometimes we fight like a brother and sister, and sometimes we drive our other friends crazy by constantly playing tricks on each other. But most of the time, we are totally cool together. My name is Jessica Bone, and you are probably wondering why Ryan and I are so into tricks and ventriloquists and stuff like that. Well, the answer is easy. My dad, sometimes known as the amazing Billy Bone, is a birthday party ventriloquist and a magician. He does 3 or 4 birthday parties a week. He's very popular. Sometimes he even is on TV. Dad taught us how to throw our voices when we were 5. Ryan and I used to put on magic shows when we were in 2nd grade. And that's why the magic shop was our first stop at Horrorland. We looked off across the plaza and almost ran into a green and purple food cart. The sign on the side read, "Chuchua tenders made with real chuchu bites." "That's sick," I said. "We already have 2 chuas at home, named Abra and Kadabra. Part of Dad's magic act. He pulls them out of his coat sleeves. The dogs love it." The magic shop stood next to a big theater. In dark, ghostly letters, the marquee read, "The Haunted Theater, Monto the Magical, now appearing and disappearing." "Awesome! Let's see when the next show goes on," I said. But Ryan was already hurrying into the shop. I pulled open the door and 2 kids rushed out. One of them was holding a huge deck of cards, and the others had one of those fake little gulltons in his hands. The kind where you put your finger in and then you push down on the blade, and it looks like it sliced off your finger. It's pretty a good trick. I think Ryan and I learned it when we were 4. The shop looked small on the outside, but it stretched really far back. I could see 2 long easels with shelves and shelves of magic tricks. A shiny suit of armor stood at the end of one. So it had a magic wand gripped in its metal glove. A stuffed rabbit poked out from the open visor. "Jessica, check out these chains and padlocks," Ryan said. He tugged a heavy silver lock and popped right open, perfectly for quick escapes. He turned to me. "Does your dad ever do an escape from a locked truck?" "No way," I said. "That's too scary for kids." Dad had to be careful. If he makes the kids cry, he won't be invited to perform at many birthday parties. I picked up a pair of Chinese puzzle rings. I slammed them together, then pulled them apart. Easy! I turned and saw Ryan pick up a metal cuff. It looked like it had sharp teeth. This is a mean looking handcuff, he said. I opened a box of playing cards. I pulled out the deck and examined it. Every card in the deck was ace of spades. I started to put the cards back when I heard a deafening snap. Then I heard a scream. I turned and saw the metal cuff clamped around Ryan's wrist. Jessica, help me! He shrieked. It hurts! It hurts! Oh, help! My hand is broken! Of course, I didn't fall for it. Ryan is a good actor, but he tries this kind of gag too many times to fool me. I didn't even flick, really. Where's the blood? I asked. Ryan shrugged. Hey, I almost got you. No, you didn't, I said. I grabbed his arm and pricked the metal cuff off. I snapped it a few times between my hands. Sweet! Ryan backed away from me. I didn't like the grin on his face. What? I said. Come on. What's so funny? He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his back pocket and pulled out a pink cell phone. My phone! You thief! I cried. You picket. How did you get that? His grin grew wider. It's easy for your good. I could see my reflection in his silvery sunglasses. I looked angry. Give it back, I said. He started to hand the phone to me. Then as I grabbed for it, he swung it out of my reach. Hey, not funny, I said. I gave him a shove. I didn't mean to push him that hard. Sometimes I forget how light he is. He went flying backwards and tumbled right into a big man just entering the shop. The man wore a black suit, bow tie and top hat. Montu the magical. Montu had a round red face under sliced down black hair. He had a bushy black mustache that seemed to sprout from his huge nose. His nose looked just like a light bulb. He stared at us, his bushy eyebrows wrinkled up and down like a caterpillar. His tuxedo shirt bulged over his big belly. Do you want to buy that handcuff trick? He asked me. He had a deep, growly voice. I gazed down at it. I didn't realize I was still holding it. No, I said. I dropped it onto the shelf, just looking at it. It's a good trick, Montu said. It'll make your parents scream. I don't think so, I said. He signed and pulled off the top hat. His black hair grizzled with sweat. Did you kiddos catch my show? He asked. Not yet, Ryan said, but we want to. We are totally into magic. Montu nodded. The last one was the worst show I ever did, he muttered. He waggled his hands. I'm totally butterfingers today. Even my best trick went wrong. What's your best trick? I asked. The one where I pull a hat out of a rabbit, he said. He set the hat down on a counter. Then he pulled a live rabbit out from under his tuxedo jacket. Would you believe the rabbit started to gag? I couldn't get the hat out. Shaking his head, he carried the rabbit to a cage against the wall. My dad says sometimes the spirit of magic are against you, I said. Montu spun around. Who is your dad? He's a magician too, I said. He does birthday parties back down home in Tampa. Montu's eyes flashed and his fat eyebrows rolled up and down. Maybe you'd like to buy your dad a new magic trick? I've got some tricks you kiddos have probably never seen before. I collect from all over the world and sometimes from other planets. I glanced around at the shelves of tricks. They looked pretty expensive, I said. Ryan picked up a thick rope. One end was tied in a loop. Ryan is totally into rope tricks. He ties knots in a rope, then he shakes the rope and the knot magically disappears. That's a very good rope trick you've got there, Montu said, one of my best. This trick was handed from the first ancient Raja of the Kingdom of Gold. He took the rope from Ryan's hand. Bet your dad doesn't know this one, he said to me. How does it work? Ryan asked. Watch. Montu lowered the loop around his big waist. He tightened it like a belt. Here, take this, he told Ryan. He handed around me. Now, pull the rope as hard as you can. Give it a good tug. And what will happen? Ryan asked. Do you make the loop disappear? That's too easy, Montu replied. I make the whole rope disappear. Cool, I said. I reached out and gave the rope a squeeze. It was a real rope. How was Montu going to make it disappear right from Ryan's hands? Ryan gripped the rope in both hands. He gave it a hard tug. Go ahead, pull, pull, Montu ordered. Pull it with all your strength. Ryan again gave another hard tug. He backed down the long rope, pulled the rope. Montu shut his eyes. He grunted and groaned. Pull, pull. He strained against the rope belt. Ryan tugged again. The rope didn't vanish. Montu opened his eyes. His face was red. He had droplets of sweat on his forehead. Not my day, he said with a sigh. Let's try another trick. He lifted the loop over his head and tossed the rope onto the floor. He mopped his forehead with the back of his hand. What's your name, kiddo? He asked me. Jessica, I said. Jessica Bone. Well, you're right, Jessica, he said. Sometimes days, the spirit of magic are against you. He turned and started down the aisle. His pockets bulged. I could see he had a lot of stuff hidden in them. I know I have some tricks you will love, he said. I noticed a long box lying flat on the floor. The lid was decorated with hand-painted red and yellow flowers. What's this wooden box? I said. It looks like a coffin. It's called the Forever Box, Montu said. He lifted the lid. The inside of the box was lined in red velvet. If you lie in this box and I close the lid, you disappear forever. How does it work? I asked. Show us, Ryan said. He jumped into the box. He settled onto his back. He's so small, he fits with room to spare. You sure? Montu asked. Sure, Ryan said. Montu started to lower the lid. He gazed at me. Say goodbye to your friend forever. Ryan and I both laughed. We didn't know that was the beginning of all the horror. Montu leaned down and spoke to Ryan. Cross your arms tightly over chest. He said, you are about to take a long journey. Do you have any last words? Live long and prosper, Ryan cried. What a goof. Excellent last words, Montu said. He kept his eyes on me as he slowly lowered the lid. It shut with a soft whomp. Montu pushed back the tails of his suit jacket. Then he leaned over the box and muttered some magical words. Vanu, vanu, vanish. He's so cornball, I thought. My dad would think that was a riot. Go ahead, Jessica, Montu said, stepping back. Pull open the lid of the Forever Box. I gripped the edge with both hands and raised the lid. Sure enough, Ryan was gone. I bent down and tapped the sides of the box. Solid wood. Sweet, I said. I stood back up and turned to Montu. He had a toothy grin under his moustache. The box has a fake bottom, right? I asked. No, not right, Montu said. The back panel is fake. It slides open. Go ahead, slide it. Your friend is behind it. I leaned over the front of the box. I saw a little handle down low on the back panel. I grabbed it and slid the panel open. No, Ryan. Montu and I stared at the empty hidden compartment. I laughed. Awesome, I said. Where is he hiding? Is there another hidden compartment? But Montu's smile had faded. His brows crinkled up until they mashed into one frown eyebrow. Whoa, he muttered. He started down at the empty box. Whoa! Where is he? I repeated. Montu gently moved me aside. Then he pushed back his jacket again and carefully squeezed into the box. He got on his hands and knees and began trampling all the sides with the back of one hand. Hey, kiddo, he shouted. Kiddo, where are you? Are you playing a trick on the magician? I crossed my arms in front of me and watched. I really didn't know what to think. Montu had to be putting on an act. This was just a trick. He was showing off his acting skills, trying to scare me. Kiddo, you can come out now. Montu boomed. He tapped the sides some more. This isn't funny. Finally, he grabbed the front of the box and hoisted himself to his feet. His face was pale, dripping with sweat. He shook his head. Where is he? He muttered, talking to himself. Then he turned to me. This is no joke, he said. This has never happened to me. Your friend is gone. I started to laugh, but the expression on his face made me stop. Why was he trembling like that? Why was he serious? He wiped sweat from his mustache. Then he slowly climbed out of the box. I don't understand, he muttered. It's a simple trick. I knelt next to the box and checked for a fake bottom. No, I couldn't find one. Ryan, I called. Ryan, are you in there? No answer. I felt a chill at the back of my neck. My mouth suddenly felt dry. I stood up and turned to Montu. He had pulled off his tuxed jacket. His white shirt had big sweat stains under the armpits. It's a bad luck day, Montu said softly. I should never have tried that trick. I grabbed his sleeves. But it's just a trick, right? Let's get serious here. Ryan didn't really disappear into thin air. Another chill ran at the back of my neck. Are your parents in the park? Montu asked. Are your parents in the park? Montu asked. Do you have a cell phone? I think you better call them, huh? My mouth dropped open. Montu's eyes locked on mine. We have a real problem here, he said. I wish I was joking, Jessica, but I'm not. I swallowed. My mouth felt like cotton. My mind whirled with all kinds of crazy thoughts. I'm not the kind of girl who gets scared. I don't scream at scary movies, but I'm not afraid to touch big bugs or snakes. My dad says I am neither brave or nuts. He means it as a compliment, but staring at Montu with his pale face and trembling hands, I felt afraid. Call your parents, he said. I shook my head. No, I know how to find Ryan, I told him. He squinted at me. You do? Yes, I said. Send me that too. Do the trick with me. I didn't wait for him to argue. I stepped into the box and lowered myself inside. I don't like this, Montu said. I don't like this at all. Close the lid, I said. I'll find Ryan, no problem. Montu signed. It's not my day, he murmured again. I settled on my back and crossed my arms over my chest. The box smelled like pine. The velvet tickled my legs. Come on, do it, I shouted. The lid slowly closed over me. I blinked in the total darkness. The air constantly became heavy and hot. Above me, I could hear Montu saying the magic words. Muffled by the wooden lid, he sounded miles away. I waited with my eyes wide open, staring into the blackness. I realized I was holding my breath. I exhaled in a long whoosh, and suddenly I felt myself start to slide. The bottom of the box dropped away. I let out a sharp cry as I slid down. On my back, my hands flying in the air. I was on a slippery, steep slide. Picking up speed, sailing down faster and faster into a deep darkness. I screamed all the way down. My voice echoed as I was sliding down a deep well. It seemed as if I slid for hours, but it was probably less than a minute. Where was it taking me? When would it end? My scream ended in a hiccup as I came to a stop. The slide let me off gently. I landed on my feet. Totally blackness all around. Where am I? I wondered. My heart was pounding like a drum. I took a deep breath. Then I cupped my hands around my mouth and shouted, Ryan! Hey, Ryan! No answer. My eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness. I saw a dim light. I started to walk towards it. My legs felt shaky and my heart was still thudding away. A narrow metal ladder stood in front of me. I nearly walked right into it. I gripped the sides of the ladder and gazed up. I saw a square opening above me and the glare of white light. I squeezed both my hands tightly on the ladder and began to climb. My shoes slapped the metal rugs and made them ringing. I pulled myself to the top and stepped out of the darkness into the square of bright light. Ryan! He stood in front of me. I couldn't see his eyes because the silvery shades, but he looked dazed. Ryan, are you okay? He nodded. I guess. Where are we? I asked, squinting in the bright light. He didn't have to answer. I could see we were at the back of a store. I took a few steps down the aisle. The shelves were crumbled with souvenirs and joke items, stuffed monkeys and rubber chickens, skulls with glowing red eyes. A gift shop, Ryan said, shaking his head. Do you believe it? That big phony sent us to a gift shop. I chuckled. Monto sure had fooled me. I thought something terrible had happened to you. He may be a lousy magician, but he is a terrific actor. I thought he was really scared. He just wanted to sell us stuff, Ryan grumbled. I picked up a cute brown and white stuffed puppy. Put me down, it screamed. Startled, I dropped it back on the shelf. Ryan laughed. Cool, pick it up again. I picked up the little puppy. I'll bite your face, it shrieked. We both laughed. I picked up a greenish skull. It was made of wax or something. Hey, I think it's a candle, I said. A skull candle. Do you like that? A voice asked. I turned to see an old man in an old-fashioned suit and vest. He had thin grey hair swept back off his forehead. Square eyeglasses perched on the end of his long nose. He looked a little like the picture of Benjamin Franklin in my history textbook. Yes, it's nice, I said. I started to put it down, but it stuck on my hand. It's a very special skull, the old man said in a croaky voice. It's actually a man-trap. It was used by a long-lost tribe of island warriors. Sadly, they took the secret of making the wax with them. I struggled with the candle. The wax was melting and sticking to my hand. It was growing hot. I tried to push it off my hand with my other hand, but the wax spread and tightly over my skin. The old man chuckled. Don't fight it. The more you struggle, the more you heat it up. Well, what do? I cried. Get it off me. He adjusted the square spectacles on his nose. His blue eyes flashed. You have to know the secret cure, he said. Just blow on it. I didn't hesitate. The hot wax was covering my hand like a tight gloves. I blew on my hands as hard as I could, and the green wax let go of me and rolled up into a tight ball the size of a golf ball. That is so awesome, Ryan exclaimed. He took the little ball off me. We got to buy one of these and sprint it on Boomer. Boomer is a big bully of a kid who is always in our faces. Boomer likes to pond us and take our lunch money and give Ryan and me a hard time. I rolled my eyes. For sure, Ryan, we'll give him one of these, and then what will Boomer do to us? Turn us into wax skulls? Messing with Boomer was always a mistake. We both had the bruises to prove it. Allow me to introduce myself, the old man croaked. He straightened his floppy back bow tie. My name is Jonathan Chiller, and this is my shop, Chiller House. Nice place, I said. My hands still throbbed a little from the hot wax. May I show you some interesting souvenirs? I think you will like it. Chiller said. He gazed over the shelves and picked up a real looking bat. Its eyes glowed red, and its mouth was open as if it already ready to bite someone. He moved his hands up and down rapidly, and the bat's wings flapped. It's actually a kite, he said. But you can't see the strings. When the wind blows through it, it shrieks. Fly this into a crowd and you can terrify people. It's so real. Sweet, Ryan said. He rubbed the bag's stomach. Feels like real fur. I searched a low shelf and found something I liked. Ryan, check it out, I said. I rolled it in my hand, a two-headed gold coin about the size of a quarter. It had a man's face on both sides. I don't know who it is. Ryan, this coin is perfect for magic tricks, I said. He grinned. And awesome for winning bets, he said. Heads, I win, tails, you lose. It always comes up heads. Jonathan Chilla chuckled. You'll win every bet with that coin, he said. I definitely need to buy this, I told the old man. Do you have another one for my dad? He frowned. I'm so sorry. There's only one like this in the whole world. Well, I'll take it, I said. Ryan and I have a lot of fun with this. I handed it to Chiller. Let me wrap that for you, Chiller said. He carried it to the front counter. He wrapped the coin in black paper. Then he tied a red ribbon around it. I watched him attach a little figure to the ribbon. It was a tiny green and purple horror. It looked just like all the park guides and workers at Horrorland. Chilla smiled. Take a little horror home with you, he said to me. He handed me the package. I reached into my shorts pocket for my money. How much do I owe you? I asked. He waved me away. No, he said. No charges now. You can pay me back next time you see me. I started at him. Next time? What did he mean by next time? Part 2.